Being around family can be a lot of fun, but it can also be very chaotic. And what time of year does that chaos really start to heat up? The holiday season, of course. From dealing with insensitive family members, to stressing about getting the right gift, to anything that could possibly go wrong going wrong. It's a stressful time, to say the least.
Well, I don't know what to say, except it's Christmas and we're all in misery.
This on-screen trope arose from a very real issue many of us can relate to. When the family comes together, chaos ensues. So why do we adore seeing this trope play out time and time again? What can we gain from watching a family nearly fall apart in an often hilarious way?
Please, Lord, help us not use terms like imbecile or senile old man.
Let's take a closer look at the holiday family chaos trope to unpack why, at its core, it's actually surprisingly heartwarming and encouraging. The holiday season, at least in the United States, is a period of about 8 weeks during which multiple holidays occur back to back, and sometimes even overlapping, including Halloween, Diwali, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Eve.
Allow me to introduce you to a little something that I like to call Chrismica. Chrismica? That's right, it's a new holiday, Ryan, and it's sweeping the nation.
It's a time filled with celebration and tradition, and while many people look forward to the festivities, there are also those who dread it.
Too much family time triggers depression, repressed childhood rage, bitter disputes over the remote, and way too much alcohol.
These people absolutely despise the holidays for many different reasons, but a big one that pops up on screen quite often is the result of events that happened during their childhood on the specific holiday. Chandler Bing from Friends, for example, hates Thanksgiving. Why?
We've just finished this magnificent Thanksgiving dinner. I have, and I remember this part vividly, a mouthful of pumpkin pie. And this is the moment my parents choose to tell me they're getting divorced.
Yeah, we don't blame you for not liking Thanksgiving, Chandler. Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine also despises Thanksgiving because, growing up, for him, it was not the joyous, family-filled holiday from the movies.
It's a sucky holiday. It's always sucked. My mom worked, my dad was gone, and I sat at home watching football.
While there are many famous solo holiday haters who, in their loneliness and sadness, turn inwards and reject the joy of the holidays.
Santa, what's Christmas really about?
Vengeance!
Presents.
Sometimes the problem isn't with the holidays and cheer surrounding them, but the expectation of being around family that comes with them.
Carmen, I need you to check the Branzino.
I feel like that was a shot, Carm.
I'm saying, this is why I didn't want to come home. This is why.
Oh, you.
Oh.
What? What?
Would you say that?
Not every family is quite that stressful, but it can still be a trying time for everyone involved.
Everyone in this family hates me.
Then maybe you should ask Santa for a new family.
I don't want a new family. I don't want any family. Families suck.
And honestly, who can blame Kevin? His family accidentally left him behind when they left for their trip to Paris.
What kind of mother am I?
And the movie's first 10 minutes exemplify the chaos that can exist in a big family during the holidays, and how Kevin, being the youngest, is at the bottom of the totem pole. His siblings bully him, and his parents dismiss him. While he's certainly no perfect child,
He was in the garage again playing with the glue gun.
Didn't we talk about that?
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
he certainly gets the short end of the stick. He does make the most of it, though. But even when you do like your family, having everyone in one place can still be stressful. Especially when, like in Modern Family, there are a lot of big personalities in one room.
I can't believe you all couldn't hold it together for one meal and not argue.
Cam, this is what we always do on the holidays.
We can always count on the Delgado Pritchetts, the Tucker Pritchetts, and the Dunphys to go all out for the holidays. Unfortunately, while Claire loves Halloween, she often goes a little too far.
Every Halloween, we have the best house. Last year, I took things to a whole new level, but apparently it was too scary for some kids and one adult.
Arguments usually arise during Thanksgiving, whether it's all the compounded lies reaching their boiling point or mistakes when it comes to the Thanksgiving dinner.
Cranking up the heat must have dried it up and shrunk it. It's Sunday!
The family always has such high expectations for Christmas, but each of their good intentions ends up wreaking some more havoc. Modern Family Season 3 Christmas episode, and arguably the best one, brings the family together for some last-minute plans before everyone leaves on vacation.
By tonight,
We could be celebrating Christmas, right?
Of course we can. Have you ever heard of Express Christmas?
The day, otherwise known as Christmas Express, rapidly devolves into chaos when they only have a few hours to shop for gifts, get the tree, and make a Christmas dinner. Unfortunately, and unsurprisingly, the idea fails miserably.
Not even defrosted.
Fine, Claire. You want them defrosted?
Yeah.
Merry freaking Christmas!
Since the holiday season usually brings all the family together, unfortunately, that also brings people with often very different opinions and views into one room. From your grandparents to cousins you forgot you even had, there's bound to be some wounded pride and tension brewing.
Let's dance! Come on! Listen, you, I'm gonna cut you like I cut your Capri.
In Heartstopper's third season, Charlie Spring's mental illness begins to drastically affect his everyday life. His family eventually agrees to submit him to a mental retreat where he can heal. He comes out the other side having made significant progress, but he's still vulnerable to triggers and other thoughts that could send his mental health into another tailspin.
You're still looking a bit skinny, aren't you? I thought you were getting all that mess sorted out.
Oh no, Victoria, why did you cut all your hair off?
On Christmas, his family members are constantly asking about it, joking about it, and are completely unaware of how their words affect him.
We're just happy that Charlie's back to normal and back with us.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Well, he seems great. As if nothing ever happened.
This turns an already stressful day into a miserable one, leading to Charlie escaping the house entirely to instead spend the day with his boyfriend, Nick, and his family.
Not everybody understands what you've been dealing with.
So I just have to put up with ignorant comments from my own family.
We just need to get through the day.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is a perfect, if not a bit hyperbolic, example of holiday family chaos.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night!
Clark Griswold sets himself up for failure when he puts pressure on himself to have the most perfect family Christmas. Of course, one thing after another goes wrong. The parents and in-laws hardly ever get along. Cousin Eddie and his family make a surprise appearance, and they always stir up chaos wherever they go.
You surprised? Surprised, Eddie? If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
And Uncle Lewis and Aunt Bethany are quite the characters.
Oh dear, did I break wind?
Jesus, did the room clear out, Bethany?
But what really adds the final straw to the camel's back is when Clark receives his Christmas bonus.
What is it?
It's a 1-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
He finally snaps and goes berserk, screaming about his boss in a long tirade with some very creative insults. Ironically, it's his snapping at the family that makes everyone want to go home, not the million other issues.
Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together.
In one Thanksgiving episode of Blackish, Pop's older sister AV makes a surprise visit, and everyone is delighted, except for Ruby.
Ruby, now you just being ridiculous. Now let it go.
I'll let it go. When I die.
Ruby and AV have been feuding since Pops and Ruby first met, and a little holiday like Thanksgiving won't be getting in the way of that. On Brooklyn Nine-Nine, pretty much every Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Halloween are wild.
That thing's a freaking dinosaur.
The squad, who we consider a family, throws heists for fun on Halloween. Jack's daddy issues get in the way of him having a nice Thanksgiving. And on one Christmas, Jake, Boyle, and Gina spend the night in a department store that's being robbed, much to Jake's strange delight.
Oh my God. It's real life Die Hard. I mean, oh no, crime.
Bringing the family together for the holidays can be chaotic, stressful, and even painful. So why do we love watching this trope play out on screen every year? They're often hilarious, for one thing.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
And they're also relatable. While movies and shows often take everything to the extreme for comedy or drama, the best ones still hit on something that feels true to our real-life experiences. When you're a kid, the last thing you want to deal with is entertaining family members you hardly ever see or know.
Okay, wait, I can't make dinner by myself. Who's gonna help me?
You'd much rather they just leave you alone to enjoy your presence, right? As you grow older, you begin to realize just how different you are from some of your family members. Some of them can be a little too traditional or closed-minded.
Oh, insensitive old white man, what would Christmas be without one?
Perhaps not understanding mental health problems, or that, yes, it is possible that your personality may have changed in the year since you've last seen them.
Aunt Clara had for years labored under the delusion that I was not only perpetually 4 years old, but also a girl.
The adults expect you to get along perfectly with your cousins, even though you don't often see them and may not have anything in common except some DNA. And when you're an adult, you have to deal with coordinating all the family get-together, rambunctious children, pretentious teenagers, and making sure you're on good terms with Santa.
So just wondering if you could do us a favor and tell us what our nephew just asked for Christmas. I know you. You're that lawyer.
Oh no, this is never good.
It's a stressful time for everyone, to say the least, and we appreciate our favorite movies and shows reminding us that we're not alone. But while holiday family movies show us how annoying, stressful, and chaotic it can be, they all usually end with an important, heartwarming, and hopeful message. The holidays bring us together and remind us of the best parts of family.
So, I'd just like to say I am happy to be here with my family.
Real family, whether it's your blood relatives or your found family, is made up of the people who have seen you at your worst and love you anyway. They're the ones who will have your back no matter what happens and support you when no one else will.
We have extra help.
Yes, well, Serena's spending Thanksgiving with us this year.
More the merrier. Happy to have you, my dear.
The holiday season reminds us to put pettier disagreements aside, prioritize love, forgiveness, and joy, and eat some delicious food while we're at it.
And hey, here's to a lousy Christmas.
And a crappy New Year.
Here.
Sometimes you're born into an awesome family, but for many of us, getting that loving family we dream of means going out and finding it. While they were long seen as secondary to blood ties, the truth is that the bonds of chosen family can be the tightest and most important there are.
My friends are the most important thing in my life.
More than just providing safety and love, found families are incredibly vital because they're not an obligation, but a choice. Everyone involved making the choice to be there for each other, to continue to grow those bonds. So how have families of choice become such a major part of our lives and our favorite stories on screen? And what do they tell us about what really matters in relationships? Let's take a deeper look. While the common ideal of a nuclear family presents a picture-perfect front of togetherness and love, the realities of biological families can vary widely.
Mom, please don't do this.
And there are a number of different reasons that one might begin to feel the need to seek out the feeling of family elsewhere. It could be small things, like just wanting to expand your horizons and form a community with people that aren't just like your family.
You know, I think we did pretty good in there, man. And I told you, we make a good team. I'm the brains, you're the brawn.
This can particularly be the case for solo kids, as we discussed more in depth in our video on only child syndrome.
Do you see her anywhere? You're not gonna. Unless you make an appointment with her assistant or hang around her bedroom door at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Because they're the only person in their family their age, except for maybe some cousins if they're lucky, they can be driven to go out and find that kind of peer-level camaraderie and care. Or it can be the result of larger issues, like to escape the grasp of a family that's attempting to push you down a path that you've come to realize you don't want. Or the result of feeling alone or left behind thanks to your nuclear family being split or pulled apart.
Chandler, dear. Just because your father and I are getting a divorce doesn't mean we don't love you.
And, of course, there's the most unfortunate but very real impetus behind many found families, being harmed by or even forced out of one's biological family, an issue we'll dig into more in a moment. Being surrounded by people who care for you is so key to a happy and fulfilling life, but finding and keeping friendships can be incredibly difficult.
Nice work, Al. You're the Michael Jordan of destroying friendships.
And for many people, the issues within their nuclear families that led to them seeking out deeper connections elsewhere actually damaged their ability to do so, which can lead to a continual cycle of blowing up friendships. When you have to build up walls to protect yourself, it can be very difficult to ever let them down.
You're really mean.
Put it in a letter, Jane Austen.
This can lead both to lashing out at others and refusing to even try to make connections because you feel like there's no point.
I can't keep it together. I piss people off. I don't have any friends, real friends. I'll probably get kicked out of Barton too, and when I do, it'll be my own fault.
But even when we might feel like all hope is lost, we can still find our way to a chosen family that loves us.
I've been a failure my whole life. It's not so bad once you get used to it. Things have a way of working out. At least for me.
On Friends, we can see how different issues with family, and lack thereof, can lead to issues forming relationships in adulthood, but also how they can lead to a desire to really do the work to build up and keep a found family once you find the people that you mesh with. Phoebe was orphaned and had a notoriously difficult childhood.
My mom had killed herself, and my dad had run off, and I was living in a gremlin with a guy named Cindy who talked to his hand.
But this didn't lead to her becoming jaded or pushing everyone away. Just the opposite, in fact. She cares about her friends more than anything, and is willing to do whatever it takes to keep their relationship strong. Chandler, on the other hand, definitely did have his sense of self and ability to connect with others negatively altered by his childhood.
Yeah, sure, I'm coming up 30 years behind him, but the stops are all the same. Bittertown, Aloneville, Hermit Junction.
But his friends are always there for him anyways, even when he's being very Chandler. Because they're more than just friends, they're true family. Finding your people can feel like a major struggle, but it's worth the battle.
Knew you'd find me, babe.
Your found family might not end up looking how you might have imagined it. Your conception of who you are and the reality of who you mesh with and who really cares about you might not always align at first.
You can't even dream a whole dream, can you?
But that's the great thing about found families. Their foundation is built on accepting one another as you are. So even if you are incredibly different from each other, that doesn't have to be a roadblock. Instead, it just means that you all have your own different place you fit into the family, all coming together to create a unique and unbreakable blend.
Get over here, Zuko. Being part of the group also means being part of group hugs.
Finding your people means not only accepting them as they are, but you and your true self too.
You know what that is? It's growth.
A key part of found families is that they're an active choice everyone involved is making, not an obligation born out of birth or contracts, but a choice everyone makes every day to wake up and be there for each other.
Pick up your pom-poms, Pierce, stuff your bra, and get ready for the team bus to forget you at a Taco Bell because life is tough. But we soldier on.
The pressure of biological family can lead to you staying tethered to people no matter how cruel or hurtful they might be, or how much they might hold you back from your dreams. But families of choice aren't about being bound by the worst aspects of destiny, but instead becoming the master of your own fate.
We should really learn how to play the real way.
I like our way.
Hey.
Chess!
That doesn't mean that everything will always be perfect and that you'll always get along, but instead, just that you're willing to meet each other where you're at and work on growing together.
She might be a dick, but she's my dick!
Actually, she's our dick.
Found families can be especially critical for LGBTQ+ people, who aren't always accepted for who they are by their families of origin, and who can even be kicked out or forced to run away for their own safety.
Who the hell are you?
We're family.
According to the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, research has shown that while only 4.5% of the general population identified as LGBTQ, as many as 40% of the homeless youth population identify as LGBTQ. Found families then become an incredibly vital avenue towards safety, security, and happiness.
What if it's not a dare? What if life just begins again?
Our Flag Means Death gives a simultaneously touching and hilarious window into how finding your people can truly change your conception of yourself and your entire life for the better. A ragtag group of misfit pirates, they initially don't seem like they'd be able to become a successful team. But deep down, they're all looking for somewhere they can finally fit in, a place to call home. And so they're able to work past any differences to begin building a family where they can feel secure and cared for, and sometimes even fall in love.
If someone returns from the raid mentally devastated, we talk it through as a crew. Because that's what we do here on The Revenge.
Chosen families work together to forge a tight bond that can survive the ups and downs of life. They avoid many of the negative power dynamics that can be inherent within biological families, which can lead to some family members feeling constrained or less important, while others are elevated above the rest.
I'm a gemstone too, Jesse. I want to do things too. Why does Daddy always overlook me, huh?
Come on, don't get your panties in a bunch, sis.
Found families level the playing field. Everyone is there of their own free will, and in agreement to accept everyone else how they are. This doesn't mean that there's no personal growth, just the opposite in fact. Because chosen families accept each member for their true selves, that also means they're able to help push each other to evolve into the best version of them they can be.
I don't think I've ever had a real family Christmas like this before. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
They're able to challenge each other in a positive way that helps foster that growth.
You're a damn fine pirate.
Anything in particular you like about my skill set?
All right, let's not do this.
She's hit enough. Take the compliment with grace.
And because it's clear that everyone is coming from a place of love, they're all able to be honest with one another.
We got into it, and he called me inconsistent.
What?
No, you crazy. Wow, really?
While that kind of openness and lack of walls can sometimes be scary within a biological family, having to wonder if sharing too much of yourself will change the dynamic in a way that harms you, fearing that being too you could lead to negative consequences within your found family is the one place you can always feel able to open up and share even your darkest secret.
We're sisters. You're my family. What is you is me. There's nothing that you could ever say to make me let go.
They can sometimes know you even better than you know yourself, and they're also not afraid to use that to push you towards the growth you might be afraid of.
And you know what? You could really benefit from learning how to stand up for yourself. Oh, Penny, what did they do to your car?
Get two back.
Sure.
And even when disagreements occur and things feel fraught, one of the most important parts of a found family is knowing that you'll always have a place with each other. Fights can totally happen, but they don't have to spell the end of the relationship or become a catastrophic event in the way they can sometimes feel in insecure relationship structures. Chosen families know that no one is perfect, and so are open to working together on overcoming any obstacle.
You know when I said that I want you to deal with this relationship stuff all on your own? Well, you're not ready for that.
I didn't think I was.
It can take a long time to find and build up a found family. While you're born into your biological family, finding your true one can sometimes take a lot of work.
Keep your head up, all right? You can do this. Yeah, I was gonna tell you the same thing.
Whether we have wonderful families and just enjoy building a strong community outside of that structure as well, or the families we go out and create for ourselves are the most important things in our lives, found families serve an incredibly important purpose for all of us. Even if it takes us a while to find each other, it's worth the journey in the end.
The square root of love is love.
Dysfunctional families may be stressful, chaotic, full of bad role models, and prone to exploding at any time, but also they're fun. For a long time, the TV family was the opposite of dysfunctional, projecting an ideal of the strong, stable, healthy nuclear family.
I feel great. And why not? I got a dad who can do anything.
But over time, families on screen have increasingly failed or stopped trying to fulfill that Leave It to Beaver myth, and we can see a number of recurring reasons as to why. One of the biggest is money.
Do you think we're wealthy? Wealthy people drive fancy cars, they buy fresh pasta. Do we do any of those things?
The stability of the nuclear family was at its core a financial stability, but more modern dysfunctional families are open about how not having enough money can make it almost impossible to adhere to an old-fashioned domestic ideal.
You're almost 9. You're gonna have to start pulling your weight.
That's right, and get a real job, not just dipping into the collection plate at St. Tim's.
Other families are dysfunctional when they have too much money or belong to a culture that's hyperfixated on power and achievement, instead of treating children like human beings.
In fact, virtually all memory of the brilliance of the young Tenenbaums had been erased by 2 decades of betrayal, failure, and disaster.
Whether the family is rich or working class, another source of family stress can be work, especially when there's overlap with a dysfunctional family business.
I want some burgers and fries. Well, there's some right here.
Don't you tell me no lies.
I can't tell if they're helping or hurting us out there, but I think hurting.
The dysfunction in the family might also reflect changing values in society at large, or generation gaps, as kids and parents sometimes feel like they're from different worlds.
How are the parental units functioning these days?
Dad's doing his up with people routine. Mom really hasn't been saying much.
Ironically, instead of challenging the notion of family, dysfunctional family stories usually reaffirm its importance and underline the life lessons and joys family can yield, perhaps even more so when it deviates from our ideas of a perfect norm.
So you left her right from the start.
Absolutely.
Here's our take on why the dysfunctional family's lack of harmony might just be the inspiration we need to embrace the ways that we all deviate from the functional mold.
We may pick on each other, get into little scrapes, call each other names, and occasionally steal from each other. But that's because we're a family.
I think you're the nicest daddy in the whole world.
The rise of the dysfunctional family on screen was a reaction to the dominant image of the perfect-feeling nuclear family, an aspirational and conservative portrait of a breadwinner father, homemaker mother, and children who, while they may be occasionally challenging, ultimately respect the authority of their parents.
Now cut out this foolishness and unlock this door.
Starting in 1954, Father Knows Best fostered the expectation of the caring, wise father, always on hand to offer sage advice to his children.
Real happiness comes from doing things for others.
From 1958 to 1966, The Donna Reed Show offered up Donna Reed as the archetypal immaculate American housewife.
I fixed this up so you'll know exactly where we go next week, when we go, and what we'll probably be served.
These shows and others like Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy, and Make Room for Daddy emphasized an idea of all-American tradition. But there was a level of falsehood to the specific way of life that they projected into millions of homes every night.
Dinner's almost ready. I have a delicious roast chicken in the oven.
Good.
The nuclear family was and is a specifically middle-class structure with strengths that are only possible for members of a certain socioeconomic bracket. Whereas in earlier eras, our culture emphasized more reliance on the extended family. The nuclear family lifestyle that 50s and 60s TV glamorized of two parents and their children under one roof is only really suited to families who can afford to pay for childcare or have one parent, typically the mother, stay home.
$25 I got in the bank?
Well, that's just the start, Beaver. The idea is to add a little each year.
WandaVision unpacks the artifice of this TV fantasy by inserting two MCU superhero characters into a throwback family sitcom universe. Through showing a witch and an android comically struggling to pass for normal, the show satirizes how seductively comforting yet unattainable the family sitcom's idea of normality was. WandaVision's sitcom references track how the picture-perfect family sitcom image broke down over the decades, as shows increasingly grew more honest and began to mine humor from cracks in the impeccable facade.
Keep it down! Your mother needs a rest. The house is a mess, the family's starving.
In the 70s, All in the Family showed how fractious it could be when parents and children disagreed about fundamental values and the state of the world.
How can you be against gun control with all the assassinations?
I'm saying, maybe Governor Wallace wouldn't have got shot if he had a rod in his miss.
In the 80s, Married with Children gave us the image of the quintessential American family, but featuring crass characters who didn't seem to like each other much.
Quiet down, the two of you, I gotta think. Leave the wife. Leave the wife.
The Simpsons was conceived as an obvious subversion of the all-American family, which is why they drew the ire of sitting Republican President George H.W. Bush.
We are going to keep on trying to strengthen the American family to make American families a lot more like the Waltons and a lot less like the Simpsons. Huh?
While the Simpsons are still relatively insulated by middle-class comforts,
a dream house, 2 cars, a beautiful wife, a son who owns a factory, fancy clothes, and lobsters for dinner.
All in the Family and Roseanne focused on working-class families who had more serious difficulties to deal with than the sitcom shenanigans that are over by each episode's end.
If it wasn't for me, the bank would have came and took this house a long time ago, Dan.
The origin story of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air also directly alludes to how it's the class status of the nuclear family, not its inherent structure, that provides the stability. When Will is living in a poor neighborhood in Philadelphia, he's headed down a difficult path without any functional family unit to speak of.
I had to learn everything on my own. I mean, my mom was working all the time and everything.
When he moves in with his rich uncle and auntie in well-off Bel-Air, the family unit is still a little dysfunctional in a funny way. But because Will has moved up in class, he's able to access the concrete benefits the upper middle-class nuclear family has to offer.
That's how I felt when I came to Bel-Air, you know? It's like everybody had 2 skates, and I was trying to keep up with one. Thanks for my other skate, Uncle Phil.
In Malcolm in the Middle, which began in 2000, not having enough money is a constant pressure, and the main stress triggering the family's dysfunction.
You are stupid enough to throw away $1,300 that this family desperately needs!
In this era, larger trends toward realism in storytelling coincided with more on-screen honesty in the family sitcom about how hard it could be to parent and provide for children.
I was hoping you can give me an allowance.
But here's what he heard.
Since you work like a slave all day and don't have any time to enjoy your own money, can I have it?
As the perfect family became less relatable, the dysfunctional family took on a certain intrigue and eventually surpassed the functional one on screen.
You won't be happy until this whole family's in therapy.
Early prestige TV icons, The Sopranos and 6 Feet Under, both, in different ways, tried to uncover the warts and all truth of family relationships.
I'm supposed to get a vasectomy when this is my male heir?
In early 2000s cinema, the dysfunctional family comedy became associated with an indie coolness, with enviably quirky characters rising out of the nonconformity of these family units. Wes Anderson's rise as one of the most prominent indie auteurs was built on off-kilter family dynamics.
You probably don't even know my middle name.
That's a trick question. You don't have one.
Helen.
Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums found a romance in the dysfunction, enjoying its flawed father figure.
This is my adopted daughter, Margot Tenenbaum.
And brilliant esoteric children with their transcendent quirkiness.
He started buying real estate in his early teens and seemed to have an almost preternatural understanding of international finance.
Anderson's particular brand was a key influence on other indie film families of the 2000s. From Igby Goes Down's sarcastic rich kid and self-medicating mother.
Perhaps if you cut down on the Valium and the sleeping pills, you'd have more energy.
Without them, I get very tense.
To Little Miss Sunshine's silent, Nietzsche-obsessed brother and Proust scholar uncle.
Did I mention that I'm the preeminent Proust scholar in the U.S.?
To the orphaned con men brothers in The Brothers Bloom.
At 10 and 13, Bloom and Stephen, the younger, and the old, had been through several foster families.
Nope. Anderson's collaborator Noah Baumbach brought Anderson-esque wry humor and esoteric characters to his semi-autobiographical The Squid and the Whale.
He's a Philistine.
What's a Philistine?
It's a guy who doesn't care about books or interesting films and things.
Then I'm a Philistine.
But he added a dark, slightly more realistic texture and more judgment of the father figure's toxic behavior.
You never made a dinner.
I made burgers the time you had pneumonia.
Only after I insisted.
Tracking how the other family members eventually outgrow that unhealthy influence.
I shouldn't have broken up with Sophie.
Why did you?
I thought I could do better.
While some of this era's characters were struggling to make ends meet,
What's that, chicken? Every night is the chicken.
Many portrayed the upper-class, elite, dysfunctional family, who proved that having lots of money is not a solution to family problems and can even create other problems. In Igby Goes Down, Igby voices a Catcher-in-the-Rye-esque disillusionment with the phoniness of his uber-wealthy family's society.
It's about the hypocrisy of the place, which I couldn't tolerate.
Which either turns people cold,
They are rigid and they are cold.
or crushes them under the pressure.
I feel this great pressure coming down on me.
Arrested Development mines comedy from how the wealth of the Bluth family members allowed them to never mature beyond acting like selfish, spoiled children.
Can't you just charge the party to the company?
No, it's not a business expense.
So what? Lindsay's been staying at the Four Seas for like a month. She's probably charging the company.
More recently, in Schitt's Creek, after a rich family's money is stripped away, we can observe how their wealth has been insulating them not just from familial stress, but also from each other.
That was 10 years ago and everybody does dumb stuff in high school.
You were 17? Did you know this?
As if. I don't do girl talk.
It's only without that buffer that they stop avoiding their core issues and learn to become more emotionally in touch with one another.
I could not be more proud of my family than I am right now. And as much as I'll miss this, being together, at least I can go to sleep knowing we're all gonna be okay.
The upper-class dysfunctional family on screen can represent a kind of old-world outlook or way of life that was falling to ruins. While stories like Anderson's might express nostalgia and affection for their fading aristocracies, the takeaway of many of these stories is that it's mostly good to let certain dysfunctional social assumptions and power structures die out.
Maybe we could even things out a bit and I could stay at Mom's a few extra nights because I've been staying more at yours.
I'd like you around.
I don't think I want to come for a while.
At the same time, the dysfunctional family story can make super wealthy families feel relatable, for better and worse. The Crown even gives this treatment to the British royal family, opening up a window into the struggles of the royal family members and thereby building empathy for them.
If you don't fit the perfect mold of silent, dutiful supplication, then you'll be spat out or you'll be hidden away.
Another strand of dysfunctional family stories looks at how being a rich and powerful family can make the family part a little too secondary.
The house that puts family first will always defeat the house that puts the whims and wishes of its sons and daughters first.
Your legacy, that you love so much more than your actual children.
The narrative might explore how work conflicts in a family business can dominate the home life. This reflects how, contrary to the old-school nuclear family ideal which kept work life and home life distinct,
Well, I gotta go to work, I'll see you later, huh?
All right, sweetheart.
Goodbye.
increasingly today, those lines are blurred as many people work from home and have to work more grueling hours than the classic 9 to 5. On-screen parents can also bring dysfunction into the family through rigidly adhering to an ideology or desiring to raise gifted children as an exercise in perfectionist achievement.
Ethelene Tenenbaum kept the house and raised the children, and their education was her highest priority. She wrote a book on the subject.
This can result in not treating kids, or even much like human beings. The Tenenbaum children struggle as adults with the pressure of having been coded as child geniuses who are assumed to be destined for greatness.
She had not completed a play in 7 years.
In Captain Fantastic, the father of the Cash family wants to raise his children to live a totally self-sufficient existence in the wilderness.
Aim for the liver or the kidneys, otherwise you'll never learn.
Shouldn't we aim here? A knife in the lungs creates pneumothorax.
But while their life is admirable and the well-read, independent children appear like a liberal's dream, they eventually question whether the extremeness of this parenting philosophy is actually harming them.
Mom was sicker than any of us knew.
Dad made her crazy. Dad's dangerous.
The Ice Storm explores how tumultuous social change in the 70s is reflected through dysfunction in the family unit.
The men put their car keys in a bowl, and at the end of the evening, the women line up and fish them out, and whoever's they've got, they go home with.
While the ice is also a metaphor for the coldness and alienation of picture-perfect wealthy suburban Connecticut families who are bored with their lives.
You're boring me. I have a husband. I don't particularly feel the need for another.
That's a very good point. We're having an affair.
And a timeless source of dysfunction or conflict in the family is generational disagreement and diverging cultural values. Families who move to a different country, like Fresh Off the Boat's Wongs, frequently deal with cultural differences between their generations.
Why do all your shirts have black men on them?
It's Notorious B.I.G.
The irony of the dysfunctional family story is that it almost always ends up reaffirming the importance of the family unit.
Your purpose in life was to build a happy family, and you achieved that.
However unrole model like The Simpsons may be, their family remains loving and together, going strong for well over 30 seasons.
I love you, Dad.
Me too, little girl.
In Home Alone, Kevin McAllister's dysfunctional family abandons him twice over Christmas. But the film's ultimate message is about the value of family and how much we'd miss them if they were suddenly gone.
I really like my family, even though sometimes I say I don't.
In Arrested Development, despite Michael's plans to get away from his toxic family,
you and I, we've waited long enough. It's time to move on.
He never does leave. However unbearable he finds the other Bluths, he still experiences moments of love and connection within the dysfunction.
Thank you. Maybe you're not that selfish.
And he feels it's important for his son, George Michael, to have extended family around.
We are family. And I want my son to be happy, so maybe we should be in each other's lives.
It's significant that both Home Alone and Arrested Development find meaning not just in the nuclear family, but in the extended family. Home Alone doesn't sugarcoat the chaos that comes with dealing with aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents.
He started it. He ate my pizza on purpose. He knows I ate sausage and olives and
Look what you
onions
did, you little jerk.
But when Kevin meets Marley, who's estranged from his son, the boy reminds Marley of how the joys of extended family are too precious to be lost.
I don't care how mad I was. I talked to my dad, especially around the holidays. Just give it a shot for your granddaughter anyway.
Many of these stories even underline that the dysfunction itself has its plus sides. Shameless uses the lovably chaotic Gallaghers to spotlight that being poor in America today means constantly facing inescapable levels of dysfunction.
You got a Happy Meal on the front of that shirt. Arms up.
But the spirit of the show expresses endless affection for the family's scrappy resourcefulness and at times even romanticizes the way that their obstacles can bring them closer. Malcolm and his brothers Reese and Dewey are, like the Tenenbaums, gifted.
He has an IQ of 165.
Who?
Malcolm. He's a genius.
Though because they're not rich, they're not necessarily expected to fulfill this potential. Both this lack of pressured expectation and their chaotic family setting sometimes work in the kid's favor. When Dewey awakens to his compositional gifts, it's precisely his dysfunctional family that provides his creative inspiration.
No one knows it but me.
Likewise, in Arrested Development, the ultimate reason Michael sticks around is likely because his mad, selfish family offers his life color that it wouldn't otherwise have.
You're a chicken.
Cuckoo-ca-cha!
Michael and women? A
That's what I was just telling him.
Has anyone in this family ever even seen a chicken?
As Leo Tolstoy wrote in the first line of Anna Karenina, all happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. While the dysfunctional family may not actually be unhappy, the point holds that there's a more interesting story behind families that aren't flawlessly blissful.
He also stole bonds out of my safety deposit box when I was 14.
The Cashes and the Tenenbaums don't seem to regret that their family lives were exceptional rather than mainstream. And their high levels of cynicism and individual thinking make it even more powerful and intentional when moments of familial tenderness do occur.
Sorry I let you down, Chaz. All of you. I've been trying to make it up to you.
I've had a rough year, Dad.
I know you have, Chazzy.
In the Darjeeling Limited 2, while the relationship between the three brothers is distant, their connection is unbreakable, forged in the same dysfunction.
I guess I've still got some more healing to do.
You're getting there, though.
In WandaVision, Wanda is using her fake idyllic fantasy world to retreat from grief. But as she increasingly faces her reality and her family's sitcom life gets more flawed, the love she has for Vision and their family grows even stronger and more resilient.
Your mother and I, very proud of you both.
Very proud.
Despite classic TV's neat image of the functional nuclear family, the whole concept of what a family can be has actually been in flux almost as soon as it was introduced. Today, we're seeing greater acceptance of blended families, same-sex families, and chosen families.
Tonight it feels so damn good. Just being a nothingless speck with my chosen family.
One of the late 2010s most wholesome feeling family sitcoms, Modern Family, still takes much from the dysfunctional family model.
Oh my God.
I got this, baby.
While underlining the normality of blended and diverse extended families. Now, the idea that there is one kind of family that is superior over others feels both exclusionary and unrealistic. The ultimate message of the dysfunctional family story is that all families exist with some level of dysfunction, and that's okay.
Oh, Lord, be honest. Are we the most pathetic family in the universe or what? Amen.
Worst prayer yet.
Family is hard work and inevitably chaotic. In The Incredibles 2, Mr. Incredible finds being a crime-fighting superhero far easier than being a stay-at-home dad.
They want us to do it.
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
The dysfunctional family story is a form of catharsis, reminding us that everything not being perfect can actually help shape us into the most resourceful, resilient, fascinating individuals we can be. And flaws in a family don't mean that there's not still love there.
I had this mental picture of the family that, if I was lucky enough, one day I would end up with. I didn't get any of that. Wound up with this sorry bunch. And I'm thankful for that every day.
Even if our own families may be some shade of dysfunctional, most of the time we wouldn't want them any other way. That's The Take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.